The Nightly Business Report.
Good evening. Tonight, according to official figures, Sri Lanka's tourist arrivals increased 18.5% to 132,919 in May of this year, with Bangladesh becoming the fourth largest source market and India leading the way. In order to improve urban transportation, the Cabinet has approved the creation of a metro bus unit, which will launch a fleet of pleasant high-tech buses as a trial project. The ASPI and SNPSL 20 saw minor gains throughout the day, and Sri Lanka's stock market ended the day higher. And despite President Donald Trump's most recent threat to quadruple taxes on imported steel and aluminum, investors remain hopeful about trade negotiations between the United States and its trading partners.
From Studio 24, here's Anuradhi Vikramasinghe.
A very good evening and thank you for joining us. Sri Lanka's tourist arrivals rose 18.5% in May of this year to 132,919, with India leading and Bangladesh emerging as the fourth largest source market, according to official data.
Sri Lanka's tourist arrivals rose 18.5% year-on-year in May this year to 132,919 according to official data. Cumulative arrivals from January to May reached 1,029,000, marking a 14.8% increase from the same period last year. India remained the top source market, contributing 47,001 visitors in May, or 35.4% of total arrivals. The United Kingdom followed with 9,221 visitors, accounting for 6.9% of the total. China ranked third with 8,803 arrivals, making up 6.6%. Meanwhile, Bangladesh emerged as the fourth largest source market, recording 7,283 visitors and surpassing Germany. The strong growth follows a similar trend in April, when arrivals rose 17.3%, led by Indian tourists.
President Kumar Dissanayake urged businesses and industrialists to stop requesting tax amendments, stating that taxes are not obstacles to economic growth. Speaking at the launch of National Tax Week, he emphasized that the government will provide necessary infrastructure like electricity, land and road, but businesses must pay their fair share of taxes. He noted that while the government is open to revising overly high or complex taxes, the mindset that taxes hinder growth must change. The president assured that efforts are underway to improve efficiency and remove other barriers affecting businesses. He also announced plans to resume all suspended development projects within the next 2 to 3 months. The president reaffirmed that economic decisions will be policy-driven, not political, and stressed that this should be the last time Sri Lanka relies on IMF support. The Cabinet has approved the establishment of a metro bus unit to modernize urban transport, introducing a fleet of high-tech, comfortable buses as a pilot project.
The Cabinet of Ministers has granted approval for establishment of a metro bus unit for urban transportation. It has been proposed in the national budget to introduce a fleet of comfortable and high-tech buses as a pilot project for the modernization of public transport services. Under this project, it is planned to deploy 100 comfortable low-entry buses for passenger transport along several major roads corridors including Colombo, Makumbura, Kaduwala, Kadawatha and Moratuwa. Accordingly, taking this into consideration, the Cabinet of Ministers has approved proposal presented by the Minister of Transport, Highways, Ports and Civil Aviation to establish a subsidiary company under the Sri Lankan Transport Board in accordance with the Companies Act No. 7 of 2007 to implement the proposed project.
Australia's Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Defence Richard Marles met with Sri Lankan President Kumar Dissanayake to discuss strengthening the historic ties between the two nations. The meeting focused on enhancing bilateral cooperation, with both leaders emphasising the importance of boosting trade, economic and political relations. President Dissanayake briefed Marles on Sri Lanka's progress towards economic stability, highlighting ongoing efforts to combat corruption and fraud. He also expressed gratitude for the Australian government's support in maritime security operations and in addressing issues such as illegal trade, human trafficking, terrorism and arms smuggling. The president further reassured Marles that Sri Lanka remains a secure destination for both tourism and investments. In response, Marles praised the government's anti-corruption initiatives and reiterated the central objective of his visit, to deepen cooperation across various sectors between two countries. We're going in for a short commercial break. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. Sri Lanka's stock market closed higher today with the ASPI and S&P SL20 gaining modestly. Trading saw strong share volume and active turnover, reflecting steady investor interest. Market sentiment remains cautiously optimistic amid ongoing economic developments. For further insights, we speak with Akna Tendakon from First Capital Holdings.
Thank you, Anuradhi. The Colombo Stock Exchange ended the day on a highly upbeat note with the ASPI crossing the 17,000 threshold. Building on yesterday's positive momentum and the bullish streak that was evident in the past couple of sessions, the ASPI climbed soon after the market opened and remained elevated through the day. All in all, the index ended the day at 17,214, having gained about 235 points during the day. The banking sector stood out as a dominant contributor to today's rally, with commercial bank, Sampath Bank, DFCC and HNB emerging as top positive contributors to the ASPI alongside Central Finance Company. Today's turnover also reflected this positivity, expanding to 7.4 billion rupees from yesterday's 5.9 billion level. This is significantly higher than the monthly average turnover, which stands at the 4.3 billion level. In terms of sector-wise contribution to turnover, the banking sector took the lead with a 26% share. This was followed by capital goods sector and the diversified financial sector, which produced a joint contribution of about 34%. Thank you.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka reported a continued easing of deflationary conditions in May of this year. The Colombo Consumer Price Index rising 0.82% month-on-month. Food inflation accelerated while core inflation also increased, signaling a gradual return to positive inflation later this year. For further insights, we speak with Ranjan Ranatunga from First Capital Holdings.
Thank you, Anuradhi. The Department of Census and Statistics released the latest Colombo Consumer Price Index for the month of May, recording a deflation level of -0.7% against a notable improvement from the deflation recorded of -2% in the month of April 2025. The easing of deflation trend observed during the month was caused mainly by the increase in food inflation, which recorded at 5.2% in May compared to 1.3% recorded in April 2025. The price increases in meat items, vegetables, coconuts and fresh fish were the largest contributors towards the food inflation during the month. Meanwhile, non-food inflation, which was one of the largest causes towards the deflation, continued to ease during the May 2025 as well, with non-food inflation easing to 3.3% negative from 3.6% negative recorded during the previous month. Reduction in transportation expenses led by downward revision of fuel prices and the downward revision of electricity prices also contributed towards the decline in non-food inflation during the period. Looking ahead, we believe that the CCPI inflation will move in towards the central bank guided area of 5% during the medium term. The main reasons contributing towards this would be the downward revision in policy rates at the last policy meeting by 25 basis points. Also, the possible upward revision of electricity tariffs in the month of July, as well as the budgetary support that was given for consumer through increase in Aswasuma, the pensions, as well as state set salaries are expected to contribute towards the move of inflation towards the CBSL guidance range of 5%.
Gold prices declined in Asian trade today, retreating after a strong rally fueled by rising geopolitical tensions and ongoing trade uncertainties. Spot gold fell 0.6% to $3,361.24 per ounce, while August futures dropped 0.4% to $3,384.92 per ounce. The bullish momentum in bullion began early June after Ukraine launched a deadly drone strike against Russia, undermining recent peace talks. Meanwhile, Moscow showed little willingness to agree to a lasting ceasefire, further escalating tensions in the region. Adding to the uncertainty, US-Iran nuclear negotiations appeared to stall after President Donald Trump declared that Tehran would not be permitted to enrich uranium. Concerns over escalating US trade tariffs and deteriorating Sino-American relations also bolstered demand for gold as a safe haven asset. Oil prices edge higher today amid rising geopolitical tensions as the conflict between Russia and Ukraine intensified and Iran prepared to reject a U.S. nuclear deal, proposal crucial for easing sanctions on the major oil producer. Brent crude futures rose 0.7% to $65.06 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude increased 0.8% to $63.02 a barrel. The market had already seen a nearly 3% gain on Monday following OPEC Plus's decision to maintain its July output increase at 411,000 barrels per day, consistent with previous months and lower than some had anticipated. These developments continue to support oil prices amid ongoing concerns about supply disruptions and geopolitical risks. The Sri Lankan rupee showed a slight appreciation against the US dollar today compared to yesterday. According to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, both the buying and selling rates of the US dollar have decreased. Meanwhile, the rupee remained largely steady against a basket of Gulf currencies. Let's take a closer look at how the Sri Lankan rupee performed against key global currencies today. We're going in for a short commercial break. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back. Sri Lankan Airlines' new Airbus A330-200 will arrive in Sri Lanka tomorrow with a special low-altitude flypass along the Colombo coastline before landing at Bandaranaike International Airport.
Sri Lankan Airlines' new Airbus A330-200 is scheduled to arrive in Sri Lanka tomorrow. The aircraft will make its delivery flight from Paris and perform a special flypast along the Colombo shoreline at an altitude of 1,500 feet. The flypast will be visible from the southern end of Post City to Moratuwa, offering a unique viewing opportunity. Before landing, the aircraft will also perform an additional flypast over Bandaranaike International Airport. Sri Lankan Airlines said the event is a chance for aviation enthusiasts and planned spotters to witness a debut of new jet. The Airbus A330-200 is expected to boost the airline's fleet capacity and enhance both long-haul and short-haul connectivity. This marks a significant step in Sri Lankan Airlines' efforts to modernize its fleet and expand its global reach.
eChanneling PLC, Sri Lanka's leading digital health platform, saw an 8% year-on-year increase in appointment volumes during the first quarter of this year. The company expanded its reach to over 90% of private hospitals and channeling centres, adding 22 hospitals and 23 pharmacies in the quarter. New services like e-Premium, e-Hospital and e-Subscription have driven stronger consumer adoption and deeper integration into the digital health ecosystem. This growth contributed to eChanneling's highest ever quarterly revenue of 67 million rupees, up 17% from the previous year. The platform's success reflects rising consumer confidence in virtual consultations, AI support and doorstep medicine delivery. Chairman Dr. Motilal De Silva praised eChanneling's role in advancing Sri Lanka's healthcare digital transformation. Digital team has partnered with Pearson VUE to open an authorized test center in Colombo's World Trade Center, enabling Sri Lankan professionals to take online exams and earn global certifications.
Digital team has launched an authorized Pearson VUE test center at the World Trade Center in Colombo, offering remote proctored exams that stimulate traditional in-person testing. The center is open to all Sri Lankan professionals, including digital team employees known as Digi-Legends, allowing them to earn global recognized certifications. This initiative aims to enhance skills and competencies, helping individuals build high-performing careers and achieve personal growth. Peter Ward, who is the managing director of Digital Team, highlighted the partnership's role in expanding access to specialized qualifications for Sri Lanka's IT community. He emphasized the center's potential to advance careers and contribute to the growth of Sri Lanka's IT sector. The collaboration reflects Digital Team's commitment to empowering professionals and supporting economic development in the country.
Uber Eats marked a major milestone by empowering 40 Sri Lankan merchant partners through a diploma in business management from UNITA International University, Malaysia. The program, delivered in collaboration with the Institute of Governance and Compliance, was fully sponsored by Uber Eats. It aimed to strengthen small businesses by enhancing knowledge in business strategy, financial planning, marketing and leadership. The graduation ceremony was attended by the Honourable Deputy Minister of Industries and Entrepreneurship Development, Chaturanga Abesinghe, as chief guest. He praised the initiative as a sustainable way to support economic growth and job creation in Sri Lanka. Uber Eats Sri Lanka Country Manager Varun Wijewardhana highlighted the program's role in equipping local entrepreneurs for long-term success. IPD Colombo and SLIIT have partnered to establish the first ever IPD Power Systems Laboratory at SLIIT's Malabay campus, enhancing industry-ready education for engineering students.
The facility offers advanced training in switchgear and power systems to hundreds of electrical engineering undergraduates. This collaboration represents a key step in IPD Colombo's effort to bridge academic learning with real-world industry experience. IPD Colombo, registered under the Colombo Port City project, is known for exporting technical expertise and developing Sri Lanka's engineering talent. Chairman Mohammad Yusuf leads the initiative with plans to expand the lab's impact through workshops for students nationwide. Beyond technical training, IPD Colombo promotes holistic growth through leadership development and employee wellness programs. Activities like cricket, badminton, swimming and chess support a culture of engagement and well-being among its workforce.
Crocodile, a globally renowned lifestyle brand and fashion brand, has launched the Crocodile Elite Club to reward loyal customers with exclusive benefits. The Elite Club offers members curated offers, special promotions and early access to select collections and events. This loyalty platform is designed to enhance the shopping experience for customers who value quality and sophistication. Members earn reward points on every purchase and enjoy exclusive shopping experiences at Crocodile outlets. The program reflects Crocodile's commitment to recognizing and appreciating the loyalty of its customers. By joining the Elite Club, customers can gain access to a richer and more personalized relationship with the brand. We're going in for a short commercial break. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. Most Asian stocks rose today, lifted by gains in regional technology shares that tracked strength in US tech markets. Tech-heavy indexes led the advance, with Hong Kong's Hang Seng jumping 1.2% and recovering from recent losses. China's Shanghai Shenzhen CSI 300 and Shanghai Composite moved within a narrow range following a long weekend. Investors remain cautious amid ongoing US-China trade tensions and signs of slowing global growth. Australia's ASX 200 also gained 0.3%, supported by the Reserve Bank's dovish policy stance. Minutes from the RBA's May meeting reaffirmed its cautious outlook after a 25% basis point rate cut. Wall Street closed higher as investors were still optimistic over trade talks between the US and its trading partners, despite President Trump's latest salvo to double tariffs on imported steel and aluminum.
U.S. stocks closed higher on Monday, with the Dow just nudging into the green, the S&P 500 rising 0.4%, and the Nasdaq adding 0.2%. Investors by the end of the session shrugged off President Donald Trump's latest salvo to double tariffs on imported steel and aluminum to 50%. Shares of U.S. steel companies rose, led by Cleveland-Cliffs, which surged 23%. Other steelmakers also gained, including Nucor and Steel Dynamics. But shares of automakers dropped, with Ford closing down almost 4% and General Motors also falling by a similar percentage. The Nasdaq got a boost from shares of Nvidia as well as shares of Meta, which gained more than 3.5%. And shares of Tesla lost ground after the EV maker reported lower monthly sales for Portugal, Denmark, and Sweden.
Germany's manufacturing activity fell in May but saw a third straight monthly increase in output as new export orders came in from different parts of Europe and the US ahead of tariff raises.
Germany's manufacturing activity fell in May, but the sector saw a third straight monthly increase in output, driven by a continued rise in new export orders. According to a Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index survey released on Monday, May's reading was 48.3, slightly down from April's 48.4. A reading below 50 indicates contraction, marking the 35th consecutive month of sub-50 readings. Despite the overall PMI remaining in contraction territory, production volumes increased for the third month in a row. International sales grew at a modest pace, with stronger demand reported across Europe, as well as increased sales to the US, partly driven by stockpiling ahead of potential tariff increases. Employment continued to decline, although the rate of job shedding was the softest since January 2024. Business expectations rebounded in May, reaching the highest level since February 2022. They were buoyed by hopes of increased public sector spending and a potential trade agreement between the US and the EU.
Well, that wraps up today's Nightly Business Report. We value your opinion as always, so please share your thoughts and feedback with us through email at feedback.ad24english@derana.lk or via WhatsApp at 768057933. We'll see you again tomorrow with the latest updates across the business globe. Till then, I'm Anuradhi Vikramasinghe. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good night.